Hi everyone, my name is Jessica Sushansky and I'm a rising senior at Tulane University studying public health. This summer I decided to stay in New Orleans and intern with Top Box Foods, which is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to provide nutritious, affordable, and accessible food to New Orleans residents. Since 2013, Top Box in Louisiana has been engaging with community partners while using an innovative supply chain distribution model to make healthy food affordable and accessible to all, especially for communities living in food insecure areas. They aim to create thriving communities built on equal access to healthy food and to ultimately make New Orleans a city with thriving health and wellness in all of its communities. They are trying to achieve their missions through two programs. The first one is the Making Groceries program, which operates by building strategic partnerships with local community organizations and places of worship, establishing them as convenient delivery sites where members and neighbors can pick up grocery boxes with fresh fruits, vegetables, frozen meats, fish, and poultry. And their second program is the Healthy Corner Store Collaborative, which doubles as a business development and a public health initiative. Top Box works alongside corner store operators in areas with limited food access to increase the amount of fresh, healthy foods offered in stores. And the program is brought to life in collaboration with Propeller and Liberty's Kitchen, and it is funded by the City of New Orleans. And interns, which is what I am, work in various roles to support the organization's two main programs, as I mentioned before. As a health and wellness intern for Top Box Foods, some of my roles and responsibilities include supporting the development team in planning and implementing marketing and community engagement strategies to promote Top Box Food services, increasing the customer base, representing Top Box Foods, and promoting various programs at community events, assisting with planning and executing Top Box Food fundraisers and community engagement events, assisting on occasional deliveries to the partner sites, and managing the weekly newsletter while incorporating nutrition literacy information in the newsletter, and finally managing the Come Cook With Us blog and video production. So a couple of things I've learned through my internship with Top Box Foods have been how to effectively market to certain populations while maintaining cultural competency and integrity. Because as a public health major with a background in pre-med, I wasn't very experienced in the marketing field, and I learned how to make designs appealing and easy to understand while also conveying a point and intriguing new and existing customers to our product. And I learned that as a health and wellness intern, I would not always be researching and learning about health and wellness, but instead I would be doing health and wellness marketing to New Orleans community members and trying to spread the information that I know to other people. I learned to use my creativity when putting together the health and wellness information, and while designing the weekly reminder emails that were sent to over 1,000 people. I also realized that I do not use much creativity in school when it comes to what I'm studying, because there isn't much room to be creative in science, and I've always just been used to that. I also learned about teamwork and how to work with a very small team, as the Top Box team in New Orleans is only about 5 full-time employees. They rely heavily on interns and on volunteers to engage with the community through deliveries and outreach and other events. They also share an office with Liberty's Kitchen, which is another nonprofit organization that aims to provide jobs and work experience to at-risk youth. And Top Box and Liberty's Kitchen collaborate frequently on projects and initiatives, and I learned to work with both teams and as an individual throughout the internship. And in terms of working as an individual, I practiced being accountable for the work that I was doing, because if I didn't do it, then over 1,000 people would not get their weekly reminder, and there would be nothing to remind people to order from us. So in terms of some changes that I went through during the internship, so my interest in health and wellness advertising shifted to an interest in data entry and analyzing health and wellness data. I also learned and shifted my interest towards personal health and how to be healthy rather than spreading health information in a very brief way, as it didn't make me feel like I was making a profound impact. I also shifted my focus from wanting to communicate information in the future to learning about health and wellness topics, while also improving and assisting with company operations, preferably health companies. I also enjoy tracking progress, such as the progress of how Topbox is doing, how people's health is doing due to what Topbox does, such as their corner store collaborative and cooking tutorials, and how we're making a difference in the lives of New Orleans residents in the long term. I also feel more confident working with a team and as a member of an organization. I practice being reliable, punctual, and responsible, and I am going to take all those skills with me to my future work. And some challenges that I faced during my internship were not initially being interested in making infographics and marketing health and wellness information. And also, it was challenging to do some of that because I didn't have a lot of confidence in my marketing skills, as I hadn't done a lot of marketing in the past. And an example of a challenge was the first time I made a weekly newsletter or a weekly reminder for Topbox. I was worried about the quality of it and what 1,000 people would think of it. I made the reminder, and then my boss did not end up using the design that I made and sent out a different reminder that week. It was pretty discouraging, but I overcame the challenge by communicating with my boss and asking her what I could do differently next time to get my work out to the community. She reassured me that my work was fine and that she just had a different idea for what she wanted to be included in the weekly reminder. And then Topbox ended up using my reminder the following week. So that was nice. I also initially lacked confidence when it came to answering community members' questions because I felt like I didn't know everything about Topbox well enough to answer their questions and keep them intrigued. But I learned to communicate with my boss if I ever did have a question because there was no way I could know everything about the company. The biggest challenge I faced was feeling like I wasn't making an impact. Throughout the internship, I realized that even if I wasn't seeing direct results, that I was impacting social determinants of health by bringing nutritious food into people's lives. The results are more about what I'm preventing than what I can see now. My internship with Topbox also made me reevaluate what I think is public service. Public service should be work done voluntarily to make a difference in communities. That work can be charitable or it can be more involved through advocacy or politics. And I didn't do any charity work for Topbox, but rather I advocated for healthy eating and advocated to bring healthy food to food insecure neighborhoods. I also think that it is important to not be seen or to act like the other. What I mean by that is I do not think it is helpful to have the mentality of being a hero or someone helping people who are less capable than you are of helping themselves. I think Ariana Taboada's article did a great job of explaining the concept. Her article was called Privilege, Power, and Public Health Programs, a student perspective on deconstructing institutional racism in community service learning. She touched on the idea that the community service learning curriculum employed at many public health schools does not adequately teach students about the source of health disparities and is not a suitable method of teaching students about cultural competency. She goes on to claim that community service learning actually perpetuates the unequal power dynamic between public health students and the community members they aim to serve. The majority of public health students are white and come from backgrounds of wealth and privilege, while the community members they serve are mostly low-income people of color, claims Taboada. The unequal power dynamic is apparent through Tulane's public service requirement, where privileged university students are assisting with less privileged members of their communities. And despite the students' positive intentions and helpful attitudes, the lack of awareness about the source of health disparities can hinder one's ability to make a positive impact and a meaningful connection with the community members they serve. Topbox is an example of a predominantly white and highly educated group of people aiming to help less wealthy and educated people with their eating choices and life decisions. However, helping people with little awareness of their roots and culture and potentially the racism they face in their everyday lives poses a barrier to providing adequate help. It's challenging and sometimes uncomfortable to be around vulnerable populations when you're not considered a part of one. It doesn't mean that adequate help can't be provided, but rather making a meaningful connection and feeling like a positive addition to someone's life feels almost inappropriate. Public health classes at Tulane aim to teach cultural competence and educate students about health disparities due to race, gender, and ethnicity. But despite this, the classes lack education about the source of racial and ethnic disparities and how they were created and continue to be perpetuated today. Privileged and powerful people can and should continue to help less privileged and powerful people, but more efforts should be focused on making at-risk communities more powerful and less vulnerable on their own. A possible strategy to mitigate the power dynamic between the different roles would be to further engage community members and make them active members of the processes that are meant to help them. Instead of making them feel helpless and like outsiders who require help from others, it would give them a voice to advocate and do things for themselves. And proposed is just one strategy to encourage empowerment and take away the savior complex that a lot of community service organizations face. And Liberty's Kitchen, a close partner with Top Box Foods, does a great job of helping the community while also empowering and making community members who need help feel helpful. Liberty's Kitchen provides cooking education and training for kids to make them more desirable for the workforce. And they also provide classes to help the students they help in school and in their other endeavors. The kids receiving help are making food and selling it to community members at affordable prices and bringing back skills and knowledge from work to their homes and to their families. Topbox has a similar mission while serving different needs. They make affordable food more accessible, and they advertise cooking videos and recipes to make community members feel like valuable contributors to their own health. Topbox focuses on making it possible for them to acquire affordable groceries. The service learning requirement at public health schools is a great way to introduce students to at-risk communities and how to effectively help them. The students can take away the strategies that these organizations use to equalize power between the helpers and those being helped. A few things I've contributed to my internship are I made an infographic about food safety and preventing foodborne illnesses, which is meant to be distributed to volunteers and other people who handle our food products. I also have designed many weekly reminders that go out to over 1,000 people to remind them to order from us, and the reminders include different health information and what's new and where we're delivering and other information. And I've also collected and analyzed some data that Topbox collects from people in terms of how their health has improved since they started buying their groceries from us and other information. And of course, the people that I've gotten to sign up for Topbox and the people who now eat healthier because I was able to talk to them about Topbox is one of my most rewarding contributions, at least personally. And that's all I have to say about my internship with Top Box Foods. I feel very lucky to be working with them, and I hope you enjoyed my reflection. Thank you.